everybody. This is episode 18 of the NERDcast. My name is Lee. I'm joined by two excellent people here. Want to introduce yourselves, Danny?
Hello.
And Will.
Hello there.
And, so I think we'll just jump right into it. The first bit of news that we're discussing is something of a bit of a negative thing, I guess, would be that Atari has filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy, and I believe it's Atari Inc. that was the one that filed for it. And that's like one of the last bastions of Atari. Well, Atari was many different companies, like it had different things, and basically all of them have already been bought out or sold, like so they're not even in existence. And this is one of the last ones, and now it filed for bankruptcy. So yeah, I think that's
the end of an era.
Yeah.
I would like to point out Atari is probably about 15 years older than THQ, and THQ filed for bankruptcy before Atari.
Yeah, I guess that kind of puts it in perspective.
Yeah. These guys hung on by a thread.
They're survivors.
Hung on by a thread is an understatement. I did a little bit of research, like looking up the history of like other things, because I was trying to find the exact thing to research, like the exact branch of the company. And Atari Inc. is one of the last ones, like I said, but yeah, it was. The rest of them, the one was out in 96, the other one was in the 80s. Yeah, there was a bunch of them that was like, in the most recent one, other than this one, was 2003, the one branch of Atari, so.
Wow.
But unlike THQ, Atari, in my opinion, hasn't been exactly relevant since, I don't know how long, right?
I think they're only relevant in the sense that they were one of the original gaming companies. So when you think of gaming, you just like immediately think of like Atari and Pong and everything. Like they haven't released anything. Like what games did they even make? They made Roller Coaster Tycoon, didn't they? I'm pretty sure they made Roller Coaster Tycoon.
I feel like Atari's kind of like a museum piece that's worn away.
Whoa.
Slowly, pieces of it just get like...
You just went major dubs.
Broken.
Are you Skrillex?
And now it's gone.
Yes, it is. What were you saying? Sorry. Well, are you
what?
alive?
No, I'm done.
Oh, well,
yeah, I'm alive.
We didn't hear anything you said.
Oh. But
you
like
kind of went all like echoey for like half a minute there.
Really, because I was being super deep. It was like Atari is like a museum piece that's just wearing away, and now it's gone.
It's like it's like a veteran in a VFW camp. You know, yeah, they were important and they did a lot of good stuff. Maybe not so much today, but they still got to stay there.
They've done their duty.
Yes. Atari was.
They brought us video games.
Yes, they were one of the first people. Well, they had many arcade consoles and stuff, but they were also one of the people who brought video gaming to the home market to begin with. So.
Look at them. They were the guys who did Pong. They were the guys who did Pac-Man, right? I'm pretty sure they did Pac-Man too.
Pretty sure, yeah.
Yeah.
And now we're just sitting here with our Steam and our PlayStations.
In a sense, we owe it all to them. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, them and Nintendo and the other ones that are even less relevant than Atari.
The ones that just faded away.
But I think this is just, like this doesn't have to do with Atari being old. This is just like every publisher now. Like
the times are changing.
Like look at what happened with THQ. Like I also think it's becoming more or less what happens when you like transition to a new console generation, because people die companies die like at the start of a new console generation. Like look at THQ, file for bankruptcy now. Midway, the guys who made like NHL Hits, if any of you remember those games, they were gone in the PS2 to PS3 transition and the Xbox 360
to add on
transition.
To that, from my research, Midway was one of the companies that bought out one of the older generations of Atari. So, and so they bought and sold one of the branches of Atari, and then now Midway's gone.
And then look at Square Enix. They're kind of, milking the Final Fantasy cow, and that can't last forever. And the only companies I see that are actually doing okay are Activision and EA, and that's it. Like Ubisoft
That's because EA is evil incarnate.
What does that make Activision, like Satan?
Yeah, I can work with that.
Activision, I feel, though, is kind of screwed, because look at like Lee, you were the biggest Call of Duty fan ever, and you haven't even played Black Ops 2 yet.
No, I haven't. I've been considering buying it, but
Don't do it.
Like, sorry, Activision's like
the dark side.
Activision's just like leaning on Call of Duty, and I just feel like the whole like what was it? Like everyone's saying like gaming is gonna die eventually. I don't think it'll die. We'll just have new publishers.
Gaming's gonna change. We're seeing that now.
It's going more like independent.
Yeah,
is what I'm seeing. Like the big, huge companies don't do much anymore. Like you get the EA where like 90% of their games are technically all the same. Because you got like Dead Space and Mass Effect, sci-fi third-person shooters. Ooh, Battlefield, Medal of Honor. They're all basically becoming like the same game, and it's just gonna ruin the whole gaming industry. And like companies are gonna go bankrupt because they can't compete with the big ones. So all the smaller ones are being weeded out right now. Like THQ is done. I feel like if like one of them gets even bigger, you might see say like Ubisoft go, but they still have Assassin's Creed. So
Ubisoft is doing good.
Yeah. Well, personally, I think that gaming's moving in more of a direction of lots and lots of indie games. Because personally, I feel like those are actually a bit more fun than big name games.
Oh, here's another company I could see going. Sega.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They'll
get bought out by Nintendo.
Yeah, I can see that, and then make Sonic like a Nintendo franchise, and it would still suck.
The transition's already begun.
Yeah, because like look at all the Sonic games on the Wii U and the Wii.
Yeah.
What other ones are there? I can see publishers like Telltale Games. They should be fine because they're not huge, but they do make some pretty critically acclaimed games. Like The Walking Dead, I imagine sold a whole bunch.
Well, let's take into consideration that they had, I think, probably in the area of 8 games before The Walking Dead that nobody really heard of, or that you heard of and it wasn't exactly like the greatest game. It had fatal flaws, and one game doesn't equal total success for the company. So, in order to make any solid statement on Telltale, I'd have to play their next game. Which, from Walking Dead, I'd probably put a lot of eggs in the good basket. That the game's going to be of good quality. So, but
we have high standards now, Telltale.
It's too early to tell.
Back to the Future was pretty good.
Oh, that was the one before.
From what
Dead,
I've
right?
heard.
Yeah.
I haven't really heard much about it. I haven't played it, but I've heard it was pretty good. But like publishers like Sega, I can see going because they're actually a lot of Japanese publishers, apart from Sony and Nintendo. Because like Sega, I don't see doing very well. Like Konami, as long as they're going to be milking the Metal Gear train for a while, and same with Square Enix, they'll be doing the Final Fantasy train. Those can't last forever.
No.
Pretty sure Final Fantasy already died.
Does Square have any other IPs than?
Yeah, they have Dragon Quest, but that's only big in Japan, and I don't think they can survive solely on Japan. And then there's Kingdom Hearts, but we won't even get into Kingdom Hearts right now.
Was that a Square game?
Yeah, it was a Square game. But here's the thing, like Kingdom Hearts 2 came out in 2005, and they've released a DS game, a 3DS game, a PSP game, a mobile phone game since then, and we have not had a proper Kingdom Hearts 3, and that really disappoints me.
The game always confused me. It was like, well, I don't know. It was just, it seemed like such a weirdly conceived game.
It worked. Like they managed to.
I'm not denying that. I've never played it myself, but I've seen somebody play it. Just because it's not my style of game, right? Like I'm not an RPG fan kind of thing like that. So, but I don't know. It was just an unusual concept to be seeing played out, where it's like this JRPG style game, and then you have like Disney characters in it.
Oddly enough, like I was skeptical at first, but it kind of worked. But no, like they can't ride the Final Fantasy train forever because Final Fantasy is their only global franchise. Like Kingdom Hearts doesn't really sell well much anymore because everyone's kind of pissed off that there's no Kingdom Hearts 3, and Dragon Quest, you don't really see much of it in the States.
Okay.
It's pretty much all Japanese. But they do have what's it called? Eidos Interactive, the guys who make like Hitman and Tomb Raider. Square Enix bought them out, so they can try to rely on those games.
The new
like
Tomb Raider?
Deus Ex. Yeah, like the new Tomb Raider and the new Hitman and Deus Ex Human Revolution. Those are all published by Square Enix.
Okay, but I'm going to drop a bit of a bombshell on you right here. And I'm not nowhere an expert in the topic or in the field or the game or anything, but let's take into consideration the properties that Disney has acquired since Kingdom Hearts 2.
I think I know where you're going with this.
I see where this is going.
Yeah, I see where this is going.
Kingdom Hearts 2 with Iron Man on the cover.
Kingdom Hearts 3 will feature Marvel characters and Star Wars characters.
Now featuring R2-D2.
R2-D2. One of the worlds in Kingdom Hearts 3 will be like Coruscant or something, or Hoth.
We can have Goofy, Bruce Banner, C-3PO.
Best party ever. Oh, I would love that.
I want to say, switching back to something we were talking about before, but I find it kind of sad that I jumped on the THQ bandwagon pretty much as they were going through the whole bankruptcy thing, because I bought Saints Row the Third. I'd seen like all the Saints Row, I watched Let's Plays and things on them. I've heard good things, but I never actually got around to buying it, and I bought one of them during the Steam sale. And Saints Row the Third was, I don't know, it was just...
There's no words to describe it.
I can't say how much I loved that game, but it's not going to win any awards of greatest game of all time. Don't get me wrong, but it was just stupid fun, and that's what I wanted. And it's kind of sad to see. And I was like, man, it was funny because after I beat it, I was like, man, there's going to be a Saints Row 4. I was like, it's going to be awesome. And then like 2 days after that, it was like, yeah, THQ files for bankruptcy.
Well, I was thinking the same thing about like. There weren't a lot of games from THQ that I've been truly excited about, but there's one coming out in the next couple months that we'll discuss later on in the podcast. But Darksiders, I've always wanted to play Darksiders. So if I ever play those, and I love Darksiders 1 and 2, where will the Darksiders 3 be? Which company will buy it? Because they're selling the assets to other companies. So who knows? You might see like Activision get Saints Row the Third, and they might use that as like their competition for Grand Theft Auto. And like do like a yearly release of Saints Row. And
I was thinking that. And I was thinking another option would be and I don't think this would happen ever, but would be for Rockstar to buy the Saints Row property and just kind of can it. Because it's their only competition, maybe other than like they had, I don't know if the True Crime series is still going, I don't think so.
No, not anymore. Oddly enough, Square Enix purchased True Crime Hong Kong, I believe it was. And that game became Sleeping Dogs.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But no, I don't think Rockstar will purchase Saints Row the Third because, frankly, Rockstar can't because Rockstar it'll be Take-Two who can, but I don't think they have enough money for that.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It's like buying like a whole property just to can it. You'd just be wasting money. Like, sure, you would gain the money by probably...
It's happened before. Hostile takeovers.
Just think of it this way, though. Grand Theft Auto doesn't need to make any more money. It's going to make a shit ton anyway.
That's true.
But they can always make more money.
I don't think Grand Theft Auto can make more money than the amount it's already making now, which is probably like seamless. Like it's
not making Call of Duty money.
Well, Call of Duty is no longer making Call of Duty money anymore.
I think that's actually, by definition, impossible. But
okay, Call of Duty is not making Call of Duty 3 years ago money. It's not making Modern Warfare 2 and Black Ops money anymore.
Yeah, I guess that's
like Activision will like say like Call of Duty sold this many this X number of dollars, but in the end, it's clearly gonna be a downward trend because you can only release the same game 6 years in a row before something starts to seem a little bit off.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. As long as the money keeps rolling in and Bobby Kotick can make his throne of money and diamonds bigger, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah,
that game could be the worst game ever made, and as long as he's still wiping with $100 bills, then it's fine.
Speaking of that, I haven't seen any sales data for it yet, but I really hope Call of Duty Black Ops Declassified didn't sell very well, because that was a shit game that did not deserve to sell at all.
Well, first of all, you'd have to take into consideration the numbers of the Vita, and we already know those are low.
Yeah, numbers of the Vita are probably about 20 times lower than the number of Call of Duty's games sold on the PS3 by itself.
So that's what I mean.
'Cause I think, yeah. So, but I just can't that game is like the definition of a cash grab. Like Call of Duty itself is a cash grab, but Black Ops Declassified was like, we're just gonna shit on this piece of paper and it's gonna sell anyway.
But then again, when you take into consideration that you have a market that's saying, okay, you can bring out all these handheld consoles that I want, but I want a good game for it, and then you get the king of the hill here to the Call of Duty to make to have a game on that handheld, and you think that would be the best. You think it would be a good game, regardless of the time frame and anything behind it. That's the people you want making a first-person shooter for the first actual official twin joystick handheld, right?
Yeah.
And then, but now we're going to go, oh, well, it's Call of Duty. I don't want to play this Call of Duty game because it's going to be terrible, blah, 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 right? Well, it's like, well, what do you want? Do you want a first-person shooter that works, or do you want Call of Duty? Or do you not want Call of Duty, right? You can't have your cake and eat it too.
Why can we never have cake and eat it too? I really don't like that.
I like cake.
Okay. Moving on?
Well, yeah, we can move on to our next topic. But yes, it's a sad time here. Morning for Atari.
It's a sad day.
But hopefully they can get out of it, or hopefully something happens that it's still all right. But then again, I guess it's not really any skin off our backs if it's not. Just be like, oh well. Our next topic, and a bit of background for the audience here. I kept it secret up until this point just because I wanted to drop it on Danny and Will here.
We have no idea what this next topic is.
I honestly don't know.
This is 100% true. We do not know.
I read an article today that will be relevant to all three of us.
I'm scared already.
I have a bad feeling about this.
It's a trap.
I believe that we will be seeing, potentially, in a nutshell of what this article said, we will be seeing the return of the PlayStation 3 Boomerang Banana Controller. An article, news release today was that the Dualshock is being retired, and it will not appear on PC.
I read that article a while ago. I think it was like last week I read it.
So I think it's time. I think it's time for the Boomerang Banana Controller to retake its rightful place at the top of gaming controllers.
You know, I've never tasted more bitter sarcasm in my life. I would prefer... I don't know.
Do you think that obviously that's never going to happen ever, but the truth is they were talking about a Wii U-like touchscreen or biometrics input device.
Why the hell wouldn't they just put a Vita as the controller? This sounds like a Vita.
Logic dictates that that's the best answer, but...
Sony and Logic have never been friends.
Oh. It's just giant enemy crabs in historical Japan. Just don't...
Oh my gosh.
It's just logic.
This game is based on real Japanese history. So here's this giant enemy crab.
Danny made that joke last time,
I know,
too.
but I still laugh about it.
Yeah, so what do you think about that? Do you think you'd... I honestly, as someone who's basically only owned a PlayStation console growing up, PS1 was my first console, and then PS2 was my second console, and PS3 was my third console. So that's literally all I've ever known. Of course, I've played other ones, but that's all I've ever owned myself. If they came out with where they didn't have the standard controller, or even a redesign of the standard controller, I'm all right with that. If it was a Wii U-like touchpad, I'm not buying the PS4.
Really?
No.
Why not?
It's a deal breaker for me. I don't want that.
I'm sure since they're doing such a great job in copying Nintendo right now, I'm sure like they will have the Dualshock still around. I don't believe that article where it said like they won't have the Dualshock at all. I don't believe that in the slightest. I really don't. Why the hell would they do that? Yes, they need change. So make the primary controller a new controller like the Biometrics touchscreen controller, PS Vita for logic's sake. But look at Wii U. That has the Wii U gamepad, but it also has the Wii U Pro controller. They can just have a DualShock 4 in this case, or just allow the use of a DualShock 3.
Yes, and that's the same thing I said with the Wii U. I was like, they can have all the motion, they can have any kind of peripheral they want, as long as we have an option to have a traditional controller.
Yeah, like, don't build games just entirely around the Wii U gamepad. Like, give the option to allow to play with a standard controller.
That's one thing I like about Nintendo Land is that, for the most part, the games can rely entirely on the Wiimote if they have to. And then for game I got, Little Inferno, for playing, you have the option to use the gamepad, or you can use the Wiimote. At least they're making it diverse.
Yeah, but that's still not a handheld, like, just controller. I don't want...
Yeah.
And
but I figure that...
Sorry, yeah, go, Will.
Oh, go on.
I was going to say, considering the facepalm that came with the 6-axis integration at the beginning of the PS3's life cycle...
It's fantastic innovation.
It is still integrated. Well, actually, because you can still... The DualShock 3s you buy still have 6-axis integration.
Yep.
However... Since maybe the first 3 years of the life cycle, I haven't even seen a game where that's an option.
The last game I played that had the 6-axis as the primary mode of control, or even just in all, was the game Flower. Previous game from that game company.
Well, not even the primary control. Something where it was just like where you just used it as a certain input. Like... There hasn't been a game that's used that in, I'm going to go ahead and say 4 years.
I'm going to find something. I'm going to see which games have used it.
And it seems like the absolute failure of games like Lair and was there another one that did really bad that was just pure motion control for the 6-axis? I can't remember, but just the utter failure and the undeniable failure that had is just... It just boggles the mind that they would try to do that again.
No, I don't see a touchscreen controller being that big of a downfall. If Sony learned their lesson and decided... Like Sony had the mindset last time with the PS3 when they launched it, that they could release anything and people will buy it. They can release a console at $600 and people will buy it. People will get a second job to pay for it, is what Ken Kutaragi said. That was insulting. People will learn to like the 6-axis. And in Sony's defense, they could not have Rumble in their controller because apparently they were in a lawsuit or something. So once that lawsuit was settled, they announced the DualShock 3.
Well, I'm not talking about the DualShock or the lack of DualShock. If they just came out with a regular controller that had no vibration or even no 6-axis, if it was just a regular controller, it doesn't matter because I turned DualShock off anyway. Right? I don't use the DualShock. So
yeah, I don't use it either.
But the fact that they would just completely overhaul the controller is what I'm saying. Because I'll read the article here. It said a senior game studio said that Sony's new controller has undergone numerous iterations, few of which resemble the iconic DualShock. The R&D department at Sony seems to be experimenting a lot, as some versions of the PS4 controller include biometric sensors on the grip and an LCD touchscreen. So it's not set in stone yet.
I would prefer a new controller with the option of an older controller.
Well, see, the redesign of the controller doesn't bother me, as long as it's got what it has now. I don't want a screen on it. I don't want any biometric, gimmicky, 6-axis crap. Right? I want to be able to control my character. That's it.
Get rid of the biometric stuff like that. Get rid of everything like that. The touchscreen is fine. I really don't care. Like, because if they just use a Vita, like if this thing is just like the Vita, that could be pretty neat. Like you can scroll the interface using your fingers or all that. But stuff like biometric stuff, no. That stuff is clearly a gimmick. What was the last biometric thing we heard? The Wii Vitality sensor, which was announced in 2009. We have not seen one game released with the Vitality sensor. I don't really know what biometrics can even be used in games. I haven't really looked that shit up, so quite frankly, I don't really care. But a touchscreen controller, yeah, it's fine as long as it's comfortable to hold. If it's comfortable to hold, I'm fine with it. I really don't care.
But the touchscreen, it's, I don't want that.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean everybody else doesn't want it. I would. I'm sure more people are in your boat than they are in mine. I'm sure more people share your opinion. Because I can understand why this you've used the Dualshock since the PS1 days.
And that's the point.
This is the same controller, the same layout we've had since 1996. So over almost 20 years we've had this controller. And it hasn't done anything wrong. But hey, look at Windows. Windows 7, Windows was still pretty good, but they had to do a change because Windows 8 was coming in. Or because times were changing, so they brought in Windows 8. Granted, Windows 8 hasn't really been fantastic, to say the least. But I'm sure it'll catch on eventually.
And I'm not against change. Like I said, they can change the controller any way they want. They can reintegrate the Boomerang Banana controller O'Doom. And
Doom.
And I would have less of a problem with that than I would if they had a touchscreen. Because it's still just the basic integration of joysticks and face buttons and shoulder buttons. They can add more buttons and different ways I press the buttons. But that's all I want. I don't want a stupid touchscreen that does everything. I just want what I've been playing my entire life, and what anyone who's ever had a console has been playing their entire life.
If they come out with a controller that has 2 thumbsticks that can click, has an R2 and an L2 and an R1 and an L1, a start, select, directional buttons, and the middle PS3 button. If they have all that, throw a touchscreen on it, make it comfortable. I don't care.
But then you're going to have this big honking Wii U controller that's 1.5 feet long with what you have on there.
That's why I say make it comfortable. If it could be as large as who cares how large it is? If it's comfortable.
I actually find the Wii U gamepad somewhat comfortable.
If it's a comfortable controller to use, I don't care. Let's take the Xbox 360 controller. A lot of people say the Xbox 360 controller is huge. The original Xbox controller was massive beyond belief, but the Xbox 360 controller is larger than the DualShock 3 as far as I see. I find it more comfortable than the DualShock, to be perfectly honest with you. And I don't like the triggers. I find the layout of the thumbsticks and everything to be fine. To be much better than DualShock.
They can have that controller that you're suggesting, one with a touchscreen on it. They can have that. But that's not what's going to be packaged with the console that I'm going to buy. Like I said, they can have all the peripherals they want. They can have all the PlayStation Moves or PlayStation Eyes or whatever they want to put into it. They can do whatever they want as long as what I get with the system when I buy it is the system and the controller that I'm used to. They can even throw in another thing. They can throw in the touchscreen pad with it, as long as I get the classic controller and all the games that are designed for it are designed for that controller with maybe a bit of integration. If anybody wants to play that kind of game types, go to the Wii U. They're getting all of the current gen games. They have the Mass Effects. They're gonna have Call of Duty and stuff like that. It's gonna happen. So it's not a matter of, oh, I don't get all these games now, because you do.
Personally, I think you're going to be disappointed. I think the touchscreen controller is going to be, if it's real, is going to be the only one packaged. I just feel that's the way Sony's going to go.
And I'm going to play on PC then.
Isn't that what we're doing now?
Well, yeah, but I'm going to move exclusively to PC. Even if they are continuing the platforms that I love, right? Even if they have like Uncharted 4, even if they have anything new or any of the new games that are continuing on that console, it's too bad how sad, right? I'm gonna voice my opinion with my buck, and I'm not gonna pay for stuff like that I don't want.
and you certainly should. And that's the one thing I really don't like about the gaming community is how a lot of people say they're gonna do that, like, oh, I'm not gonna buy this game, I'm gonna boycott this, but in the end, people end up doing it anyway. If you're not gonna if you're gonna say I'm gonna boycott with my own money, do it. And personally, I'm probably gonna do the same because I really don't care right now. I really have no desire to buy the PS4 because it doesn't look like they're doing anything too different apart from the controller. Visuals can't really get any better. We're still gonna see Uncharted and all that. Show me I haven't heard any glimpses of any new intellectual properties at all. So I'm gonna wait until they make it better.
I'm going to say that the graphics could technically get better, but we haven't seen any technology advances that would make the graphics better for the PS4. So
the only game I've seen that looks like it could be next generation graphics full on is the game Star Wars 1313. Because apparently when they announced that was running on a high-end PC, like a really, really, really powerful PC, and it looked better than anything that was on any console so far. But back to what I was saying about the whole if you're gonna talk with your buck, let's go back to the Modern Warfare 2 thing. Modern Warfare 2 announced they were Infinity Ward announced they were getting rid of dedicated servers on the PC version of Modern Warfare 2. So then there was a petition and a boycott called Boycott Modern Warfare 2, oddly enough. And
that's convenient as a name as any.
Yep, and they all said, we're not going to buy Modern Warfare 2, give us back dedicated servers, blah, 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 all this bullshit. And then when Modern Warfare 2 was released, someone took a screenshot of the group list, the Boycott Modern Warfare 2 group, and people were playing it. Almost 90% of the people in that boycott list were playing Modern Warfare 2.
Yeah, but wasn't Modern Warfare 2 one of the most pirated games in history?
This was on Steam though, and I don't think you can can you pirate the game and then put it on Steam? I don't really know.
I don't know.
But if it was on Steam, I'm pretty sure they bought the game.
I know. I'm just saying though. I'm pretty sure that Modern Warfare 2 was the most pirated game in history.
Ah, probably.
And maybe newer iterations of the Call of Duty games have beaten it out, but at the time I heard something about that.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
But, Will, what do you think about the controllers? Is it a deal or no deal situation for you, or what?
I really have no particular attachment to PlayStation apart from just owning my PS3. And I don't really mind if they change the controller around because I've kind of been forced to with all the Nintendo consoles. Because I guess the switch between the N64 to the GameCube to the Wii was kind of a big transition. I really don't have anything else to say other than what Danny said already, though.
I don't really care about the controller too much. I personally think you're going to be disappointed because they are going to package that controller and that controller only. But I'm pretty sure they're going to say all previous Dualshock 3s will work on the PS4.
If the PS4 is going to have a game that I really want to play, then I'll adapt.
Yeah, Lee, I don't think they're going to package it in because you have a previous Dualshock, and they're going to say you can use it, and it'll work fine. That's it. What other technology can they use? The PS3 uses Bluetooth right now. I'm pretty sure the PS4 will use Bluetooth as well. So of course the DualShock 3 should theoretically work on the PS4, and they'd be stupid if they didn't allow it to work.
Mm-hmm. You can't see me right now. I've crossed my arms and I'm shaking my head no, and I'm doing it in an assertive fashion. And it's basically like the little kid on the playground that doesn't want to go in from recess.
All right, fine. Just saying.
Although, I'm going to throw in, there's an exception to my rule. I will buy it. I will buy the PlayStation 4 if it is packaged with Wonderbook. The next version of Wonderbook. All bets are off if it comes with Wonderbook.
That's some seller right there. Halo's got nothing on Wonderbook. Uncharted, fuck that.
All right, I think it's time we should move on to our next topic, which is we want to discuss. Well, let's first off start by saying that gaming is expensive, and we all know that. So we're here to narrow down our points of if you have to buy 5 games this year, which is reasonable because there's a lot more than 5 games that come out. But if you have to buy 5 games at release that are the must-buy games, we're going to tell you what they are. So I think that where do you want to start here? Do you have a method you guys want to do?
Let's start with Danny.
Yeah, I'll start with me. Do you want me to name all 5, or are we just gonna go we'll name one each?
You can name one and we'll discuss it, and then we'll just go around. So yeah.
All right. Okay. South Park, The Stick of Truth.
I had that on my list too.
Oh, so we're gonna have 2 games that overlap, huh?
But
I'm pretty sure I know what else is on your list.
Okay, Danny, why is South Park: The Stick of Truth a must-buy this for 2013?
Well, it was a must-buy 3 weeks ago. Now I feel like it's a hopefully it'll come out buy. Because with THQ kind of going under the rails and selling all their assets, I want to know who the hell's going to even get this game. Like which publisher is going to pick it up. But this is a must-buy because I'm a huge South Park fan. Like, I would buy this game strictly on South Park, being a fan of South Park just by itself. But of every trailer, of every news thing, every preview I have read of this game is going to be hilarious, and it's going to be amazing. Because apparently it's like indistinguishable from the actual show. Like, it looks like you're playing the show. And it's like written by Trey Parker and Matt Stone. It's voiced by Trey Parker and Matt Stone. I think it's being developed by South Park Studios along with Obsidian Entertainment. So this isn't just some like cash grab, like they license South Park to somebody. This is like they are actually like Trey Parker and Matt Stone and all the people who work for South Park are making this game with them.
We're gonna sit down and do it right.
Yeah, and I remember at the Microsoft press conference, probably the only highlight at that press conference was when Trey Parker and Matt Stone came out and they admitted, like, I think it was Trey Parker who said, so we were like going through the whole thing and we were like, okay, from this point you're going to go from Stan's house to Kyle's house. And that was the first time in 15 years of doing the show that I asked myself, where is Kyle's house? So they actually had to map out the entire like town. So like they are putting so much effort into this game. Like, this could have easily have been the next movie, like the sequel to Bigger, Longer, and Uncut. But no, they're making a video game about it, and it's going to be amazing. Like, you can have there are summons in the game. You can summon Mr. Slave, and I'm not even going to describe what Mr. Slave can do. Just watch the video.
Fans of the show can fill in the blanks.
Yeah, just think of what he did to Paris Hilton, and maybe even Lemmy Winks, and you'll understand.
I was going to say, didn't Trey Parker and Matt Stone like openly mock the Microsoft's press conference up until that point?
Yep.
I can't remember what it was they said.
I'm actually gonna. It was right after the Microsoft just announced Smart Glass, their app for the iPhone and all.
Oh yeah.
And so then Trey Parker and Matt Stone come out, and this was not ad-libbed at all. Like no. This was not like. This was like no teleprompter. This was completely ad-libbed. I think they were the only ones who didn't use a teleprompter. Trey Parker comes out. How many times have you been watching an episode of South Park and thinking, I want to be playing a video game on my tablet while connected to my oven while sitting in my refrigerator?
Yeah. He was just talking about how everything was integrated.
Yeah, I'm trying to find the exact quote. I can't really find the exact quote. I'm just going by with what I said. Oh, it was probably the funniest thing ever that I read because that was the only highlight of that entire press conference.
Okay, so well, the bottom line is that South Park does look like an awesome game. It does look like it's.
Oh, I found it.
Okay, you can read it off.
How many times have you been watching an episode of South Park and thought, I'd like to be watching this on my television while hooked into my mobile device, which is being controlled by my tablet device, which is hooked into my oven, all while sitting in the refrigerator.
But yeah, so the bottom line is South Park, it looks like a good game on its own, but it's also a good South Park tie-in. If you're a fan of South Park, you should get it. And if you like video games, you should get it.
There are so many allusions to every every episode. Like Stan's gay dog is apparently in the show. I mean, is in the game, and he hasn't been in the show since like season 1.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what was it? That was he left with Big Gay Al, wasn't it?
Yeah, and Big Gay Al was in the game as well. In fact, in the trailer, it shows. Oh my god, I can't believe I actually remember this. It was Mr. Slave on Big Gay Al's bed, hunched over with his ass hanging out.
I don't know how this game is gonna make like M rating.
It's not. I don't think it's gonna make it. And also, I don't know how they do it, but you know how in every South Park episode they will always have like a celebrity, but it's not voiced by that celebrity.
Yeah.
In this case, some guy did a freeze frame. No, it was the IGN Rewind Theater. I was watching it. Martin Sheen is in this game.
Really?
I think Martin Sheen is the president of the United States or something.
Well, I heard a funny thing that they'll usually try to get celebrities on South Park, but not to like voice themselves or even a character. They'll usually just like have a
doctor in the movie,
a bit part, right? And apparently, the one time they offered Jerry Seinfeld a role in the South Park episode, and he accepted. But he turned it down once he found out he would be playing the character of Turkey Number 2, and he would just be gobbling into the microphone.
Jay Leno was the voice of Stan's dog, I believe.
Yes. It's not like they don't even talk. They just
yeah. And I'm pretty sure Trey Parker and Matt Stone, they're friends with all these people, because I remember Matt Damon in the Team America World Police. I'm pretty sure they just when they were drawing or when they were doing the puppets, they were actually going to get Matt Damon to voice him, but then when they realized just how dumb and mental this doll looked, they decided to just have him say his name over and over again. And I remember George Clooney said when people were asking are you worried if any of these celebrities are going to be offended by what you say or what you portray them as in the movie. Apparently George Clooney said, I would be mad at you if you didn't make fun of me in this movie.
I guess it's sort of a status symbol that if South Park makes fun of you, then you know you're doing something right or wrong.
What South Park makes fun of you is you are mainstream.
Yeah. So, Will, do you have a game that you think that should be on the must-buy list for 2013?
Personally, for me, somewhere on the list, I would have to throw the new Pokemon games that they just announced a couple weeks ago.
Okay, yeah.
I was thinking of putting those on my list. Mm-hmm. No, I think they actually are on my list. No.
I think they should be there because they're a pretty huge step forward as far as Pokemon gaming goes.
But they could have easily put it on the Wii U.
Oh, they could have just easily put it on a console. No, they're let's put it on the 3DS with the 3D sprites.
That can have it could be like a PS Vita, PS3 crossplay thing. You could have the 3DS version and the and the Wii U version, and you can if you have the same Nintendo Network account, you can just transfer the games over and you can play them.
Nintendo dropped the ball on that, but I'm still glad they're making a game with 3D sprites.
Personally, I think Pokemon should always be a handheld game series, but put it on consoles just to see what happens.
Do an experiment.
Yeah, just try it.
Actually, apparently a while ago they said that they probably weren't going to make a Pokemon Snap for the Wii U.
Well, that is
those bastards.
Because they said when Pokemon Snap came out, not everyone had a camera, and it was something special. But now everyone has a camera, so it's not as special.
Yeah, but now we have a
camera
Wii U
jamming up
gamepad.
your ass.
We have a Wii U gamepad and 500 extra.
Actually, by the time of this generation, we'll be on 700 Pokemon.
You just did robot again. Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can
yes,
hear you.
You're good.
By the time Generation 6 is done, we'll have over 700 Pokemon.
Yeah, come on. We had 150 when the first Pokemon Snap came out.
151.
Fine, whatever. Like, how many people
Get
actually...
it right, Danny.
How many people actually got a picture of Mew? I did.
The original gen was 150, and it was only 151 when the movie came out.
Nope. Shigeru? Whoever the programmer was programmed Mew into Pokemon Red and Blue. He didn't tell the developers, though. He did it in secret.
But no, there's 700 or 600 Pokemon now. That game could be huge.
Well, apparently this one has all the Pokemon in it, right? And this is going to be the first one that does.
You can have access to all the Pokemon, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not sure if they'll all be in-game to catch, but you can get all of them.
Personally, like, there are two games I feel like Nintendo has to release, and I will buy both of them. Pokemon Snap on the Wii U, and a Pokemon MMO. I would love Pokemon MMO.
I feel like a Pokemon MMO would be great because Nintendo's all about everybody should trade. What's better than an MMO for that?
And I kind of got my hopes up about this because the Square Enix released Dragon Quest X, I believe, and Dragon Quest X is an MMO for the Wii and the Wii U. And if it's successful on the Wii U, I would not be surprised if they put a Pokemon MMO on the Wii U just to show that it can work.
The only thing about a Pokemon MMO would be you got to think about the way the Pokemon universe, the Pokemon lore, the way that works. You got to think of the way you got to think of the way it works, right? Typically it's just a singular character catching Pokemon, right? Meanwhile, most MMOs have you banding up with your guild or whatever, trying to either raid a dungeon or take down a boss all together. But what's the boss going to be when your only goal is to catch and battle Pokemon?
Okay, well then not necessarily in MMO, but a Pokemon world where like all those NPCs you see are not NPCs, they're just other trainers.
I can see that.
And like I don't know if it's in the new games, no, but it was in Soul Silver and Heart Gold. But there were like duels where like I remember when you're in the Team Rocket hideout, it's you and Lance against the Team Rocket, like the two
That's
Team
called
Rocket.
Double Battle, Danny.
Yeah, shut up.
Could you do it like
been around for a long time?
You could do triple battles in Black and White.
Triple battles also exist now, and so do rotation battles.
So yeah, like they can do that, but just make it primarily like it's not like an MMO, like you're not teaming up with everybody. It's just
make it like Borderlands.
Yeah, it's just the people in the world are all like they're not NPCs, they are actual trainers. They're actual people.
If you want to team up with some of your friends, you can team up with some of your friends and play through.
If you want to go training in say Mount Silver with a whole bunch of your friends, go training in Mount Silver with a whole bunch of your friends.
It'd be cool to have it where like when you start off, first of all, Professor, whoever it is, asks you if you're a boy or a girl because he has serious gender identification issues. But he asks you if you're a boy or a girl, and then he asks you if you're good or evil. And then if you're good, you're a regular like Pokemon trainer, or if you're evil, then you become like a Team Rocket or whatever it is.
Or they could take like a Skyrim path with that. You can choose your path.
Yeah, so like if you were like an evil character kind of thing, then you would be working with other people who are evil and trying to steal Pokemon and such like that. I think that would be an interesting thing to integrate.
And they would have to make the Pokemon League ridiculously powerful so that not everybody can actually win.
So if you run into somebody...
has level 120 Dragonites.
Sweet, even a baby Jesus!
Yourself a Dragonite!
Okay, so yeah, I think that Pokemon X and Y, right? That's what it is?
Yep.
Pokemon X and Y. Serious candidate if you own a 3DS to buy or a general fan of Pokemon.
Why did I just say that, really?
What?
When you said if you own a 3DS, I said holla, and I'm like, wow, I'm 10 years ago.
You didn't do that, Danny.
Welcome to 2004. But,
I'm so ashamed.
And so you should be.
Okay, the number one. I'm going to go straight to the top. Number one must-buy for me is GTA 5. I mean, you probably saw that coming. But
I'm shocked.
I am a huge Grand Theft Auto fan.
Understatement.
Yes. And this game, well, a lot of people had a problem with Grand Theft Auto 4. And I think through extensive research, I've discovered the problem that people had with it. And most people couldn't articulate what the problem was. They're just like, oh, I didn't like it because it didn't feel right. Meanwhile, Vice City and San Andreas, and even 3 to an extent, were all based off of previously existing material. They were like kind of like parodies. Vice City was sort of like a parody of 80s mob gang culture kind of thing, right? And then and so it would be like you had the like the Cuban mafia and things like that, and you were part of the Sicilian or Italian mafia kind of thing. And then you have San Andreas, and it was supposed to be like a 90s kind of gangland inspiration kind of thing. So it was like, and then 4 kind of went away from that. 4 was its own platform, and I really liked 4. The story was good, and it was a lot more serious than...
Yeah, I was going to say, I heard 4 was a lot more serious than the original, because I never played 4, and I think that's...
to get that to you.
I still think that's something Lee's going to kill me for someday in the future. But if
I killed you for every game you should play, you'd be dead 10 times over right now. So...
well, screw you.
Well, I'm not saying that as a bad thing. I'm saying that,
I'm not saying I'm not going to kill you, Danny. I am going to kill you eventually.
As a personal ego boost that I have such constraint and control over myself. But yeah, and I think that I personally liked that style. Like it was a bold step in a new direction kind of thing, where it was like kind of experimenting with a new method of storytelling, and I think they excelled in that area. Some people argue that the pacing was not good, and the continuous calls, it was like, oh, Nico, let's go bowling! Yeah, that was a little annoying. But, so I'm in like a helicopter shooting up a bunch of gang members, and all of a sudden they get this phone call to go play darts or something like that. But, I think that, and don't get me wrong, it also had the balance of humor. It was a serious story, but it also had the classic like Grand Theft Auto tongue-in-cheek Easter egg kind of, where you had to actually search for different things that were funny sort of thing, and it wasn't staring you in the face or like beating you over the head that was funny, but it was still there, and it did feel like a Grand Theft Auto game, and I think that they kind of set the next one up to be even more that way. I think it's going to be. It is a very mature story in that it follows like the 3 different characters, and the one character, he's like a retired hitman sort of deal, right? Like he's done all the crime stuff, and now he has enough money that he can settle down and kind of and live off of his ill-gotten means, right? And then the other guy is his former partner that he kind of screwed over and is now broke and still has to live in that world and kill people and steal and stuff like that in order to survive. And the other guy is, he was like a gangbanger, but now that culture isn't really there anymore. Like there's not really any classic like gangs, so he's still living in the mentality, but he has to get over that. But that's all he knew. That's what he grew up with. So I think it's very mature, and then it's analyzing these new like threads that people don't really consider.
Yeah.
But at the meantime, it's also set up to be a little less serious, and the characters are more lighthearted, but also still like that. Whereas Nico was all like, oh, my life is terrible. I have to search for the person that killed me, right? Or not killed me, but the person that killed my friends.
I'm a ghost, and I have
Sorry,
to find
I
the person who
misspoke.
killed me.
That's Grand Theft Auto 6. But yeah, so I'm really excited for Grand Theft Auto 5, and I think that the gameplay can only be tweaked a little bit more. They integrated like a cover system and the crash mechanics, and it was exactly what I wanted a next gen console version of Grand Theft Auto to be, right?
Yeah.
And I think that it's only going to go even higher. It's supposed to be the biggest world yet. It's going to be 3 different main characters, which is a first. Unless you count Grand Theft Auto 4 that had 3 different main characters through DLC, but this is going to be 3 characters from the get-go. And you can actively switch between these characters in certain missions. And if so say you wanted to be the one character, and then you wanted to switch to another, and you could switch to that, and they would just be going about their day. So you could switch to them, and they could be at a store buying something, or walking down the street into their house or something like that, or they're driving somewhere. Like, so you can switch and they'll just go on their normal day.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I've actually thought about
That's
that.
pretty cool.
So I'm really excited. I'm really excited.
I can't
when
tell.
It comes out, we
I
won't
can't
see
tell.
Lee for a couple months.
In my opinion, that is the must-buy game of 2013.
Nah.
Simply, well, Grand Theft Auto doesn't come out every year. And every time it comes out, it's a blockbuster.
Well, yeah, 4 sold, what, 25 million plus copies? I don't know.
Every year, a Call of Duty comes out. Yeah, it sells a lot, but it comes out every year. And then there's a lot of other yearly things that come out. Whereas Grand Theft Auto, it's something special that comes out. It's not on a set schedule. Or not as a set schedule as other.
Yeah.
So,
I see what you mean.
in my opinion, it is the most anticipated game for 2013. It is on the top of the list. Out of every game.
Every game ever.
But Danny, do you have another game? After
yeah. I don't know if I should say this one because I'm pretty sure you're going to say it anyway. So I'll pick one that I know none of you have said or will say. There's a game that I think just came out actually recently, and a lot of people have been reviewing it now. It's called Ni no Kuni: Wrath of the White Witch. I'm pretty sure if any of you follow, like Lee, if you follow like Colin Moriarty or anyone on Twitter or anything like that, he's been like playing this game. And this is like your classic JRPG throwback kind of game. And I'm not into anime stuff at all, except this game. This game was like the art was done by. Any of you heard of Studio Ghibli?
Nope.
I have.
I'm pretty sure they do like a bunch of like Japanese movies. Like there was one called Howl's Moving Castle. They did that one. Spirited Away. Studio Ghibli did that. But this game looks amazing, and I just want to play it because it's like hopefully a good Japanese role playing game because we haven't really had a lot of good ones in the past couple of years. So I could really use a good JRPG in my life because one of my other choices was Lightning Returns Final Fantasy 13, and then I thought to myself, why would I want to choose Lightning Returns Final Fantasy 13?
I have heard good things about Ni no Kuni, but again, it's not my style of game, so
yeah.
But
Then I thought to myself, wait a second, I'm a sensible person.
What?
Yeah, you you didn't go Skrillex there, but you went robotic.
Hello?
Will?
Are you dead?
I didn't say anything.
What?
What?
Will, you might want to look behind you or in the vicinity because I think your house might be haunted.
Maybe. There is a
probably.
distinct possibility.
But yes, I've heard
Yeah,
good things
probably.
about. I've heard good things about Ni no Kuni, and it seems like it does good things for the genre. So
Yeah, and apparently it's like a cross between the game, like the Tales games and Pokemon, which somewhat excites me.
That sounds
And
like fun.
it just looks like a Japanese like anime film in motion that you can play.
another thing I want to say, it's kind of off topic, but I saw screenshots for Final Fantasy 13-2 Lightning Returns, and no matter what people say about the story or anything like that, the game looks beautiful. Like,
And that's really saying something, considering it's using the same engine that they used for the original Final Fantasy 13. In fact, Final Fantasy 13-2 looked worse than 13.
well, even 13 looked awesome.
Oh yeah, I know. Like there's an opening film. There's like an opening montage at the beginning of the game, like when it goes to like the main title screen. I would watch that every time because of how great it looked. But 13-2 apparently, like from what I saw, I don't know why, but it didn't look as good. And that's one thing Square Enix is known for. They can make really beautiful games.
Who makes Ni no Kuni?
Level 5. They did Dark Cloud. They did White Knight Chronicles, which was fantastic in every sense of sarcasm. They did...
Did you play that?
No, because I didn't hear good things about it.
I remember for a while you were talking about it, and then
it looked good before when I watched the previews, but I'm not the kind of guy who puts a lot of stock into reviews. But from what I saw, the game was cheap. Like enemies could hit you from like 20 feet away if they're using like a close range melee attack, but you couldn't hit them. I find that to be kind of unfair.
Yeah.
And the game was like had just standard fetch quests as side quests, nothing really big. So yeah, it wasn't really that long of a game as from what I heard. Like I remember them saying it could be like 100 hours, but you couldn't get through the full 100 hours because it just wasn't as good. There really has not been a good Japanese role-playing game for me this generation, and that is my biggest negative on this generation of game consoles is how terrible the Japanese role-playing game genre has been treated. Apparently the only good games are Xenoblade Chronicles, The Last Story, and Ni no Kuni.
That's kind of depressing.
It's kind of depressing when not one of them is named Final Fantasy.
Okay, so Will, do you have another game that you want to add?
Yeah. For you two, what do you guys think of when you think of hardcore professional gaming?
What?
Just out of curiosity, like when you think of people who do gaming for a living, what game do you think of usually?
StarCraft.
Good on.
Yeah.
Which brings me to my point in that I think that StarCraft 2 Heart of the Swarm expansion coming out in March is a pretty big game to get.
Oh, it actually has a release date? I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's coming out in March. And I'm
Really?
looking forward to it.
When does Legacy of the Void come out?
2015, probably.
Oh, that's gay.
It's a 2-year difference. Watch your language, Danny.
So how many expansion packs did StarCraft 1 have?
It had Brood War.
3.
StarCraft 1.
StarCraft 2, Brood War. And there was another one that came after. Brood War was the big one, though. Or StarCraft 1, not 2.
No, I think the only expansion was Brood War.
Really?
Yeah, I'm on Wikipedia if you want to, if you can trust that as a source. But under expansions, it says StarCraft Brood War is the only one. I wouldn't consider StarCraft Heart of the Swarm and Legacy of the Void as expansion packs. I think they're full games.
They're being priced expansion packs, though.
Yeah, but they're full games. Like you have a full campaign here.
Yeah, they're expanding on the main campaign, and then they're adding on a few units to the multiplayer too, which I'm pretty excited about. Disclaimer: I suck at StarCraft.
Yeah, StarCraft is.
Of course you do. You haven't started about like you can only be good at StarCraft if you started 13 years ago.
Yeah. But no, I'm looking forward to Heart of the Swarm. It'll be good.
Okay. Next on my list is The Last of Us.
Yeah, that was on my list too, but I was gonna wait for you to say it. Those are my 3.
The Last of Us. The more and more I see and hear about it, the more and more excited I am about it, and I was pretty excited to begin with. I think that it's. What is it? Is it Naughty Dog that's making it?
Yeah, it's Naughty Dog.
So it's going to be the style sort of deal of or the same visual realm of Uncharted, and I don't know. It just looks good. It looks like the story is kind of like something up my alley, like a post-apocalyptic survival sort of thing, because that seems like to be the only fiction that I enjoy. But yeah, I think it looks good. The gameplay looks solid from the minimal gameplay I've seen so far, but
it has multiplayer, but I'm not really interested in that.
I'm hoping. Well, so did Uncharted, right? And Uncharted wasn't bad. We played Uncharted for a bit, right?
I didn't touch Uncharted 3, but we did play Uncharted 2.
We played Uncharted 3.
The beta. I never played the actual multiplayer when.
Yeah, you did.
I don't
lie.
know. I'm
Don't
not kidding.
Lie.
I'm not lying. We
Then
played
who did
the
I play
beta.
with?
Wasn't
Who did
me.
I play with, Danny?
Look, I'm opening up my Uncharted 3 case right now, and the PSN pass or the online pass is still in the case.
That doesn't mean you didn't enter it.
That proves nothing.
I can tell you right now, I did not play the original. Like, I did not play the multiplayer when it released. That I'm telling you right now, I did not. Did you play with Ken?
Maybe.
We played the beta, and that's it.
We did play the beta.
I know for a fact I played the beta, but I played the last time I played Uncharted 2. No, the Uncharted 3 was when I finished it last year in November.
We played multiplayer.
Yes, we played the beta. I'm telling you.
Played...
No, this is what happened. We played the multiplayer beta, then the actual game released. I played the entire story, like I played the entire campaign, and I haven't picked it up since.
I'm pretty sure I can find video evidence.
If you can find video evidence, please find it, because that's clearly a couple months of my life that I have no memory of.
But anyway, The Last of Us.
Staying on topic.
The Last of Us. It looks pretty good, and it seems like it's kind of the whole like setup of it. It's not really clear so far, right? Like, yeah, we have Joel, I think is his name, right? The main character.
Yeah, Joel and Ellie.
Yeah, and it's kind of set up like they have to get somewhere or do something, and they haven't really released that yet. They've done a good job of keeping the story under wrap. Like, we know the essential elements, we don't know exactly, like, we don't even know the motive. We don't even know what's happening.
We haven't even seen much of the infected yet.
The most recent thing that they released had a bit more, but still not a lot.
Yeah, it's not a lot. The only like main stuff we've seen are just you fighting other survivors.
The only thing they've actually released of any like infected was the original teaser trailer, the first we ever saw of The Last of Us, and the most recent one that just came out. So. I think it's definitely something to watch. I don't know if there's a release date, a concrete date for it yet.
Yeah, there is. I believe it's May something. It is May 7th.
Okay, so it's, yeah.
And another thing about that date is basically a clear indication that new consoles are coming out in the holiday season.
Why do you say that?
Because this is one of Sony's biggest games. Can you think of any game releasing in the November, December, October timeframe, apart from Call of Duty, because we know it's going to happen anyway? Splinter Cell Blacklist is being released in August, and that's it. God of War Ascension is being released in, I think, March. This is being released in May. All these games have been like Bioshock Infinite, which is my fourth game, by the way. That is being released in March, I believe. South Park is being released around then as well. Almost all the big games of the year so far, or any game that has been announced, is being released in the March, April, May timeframe.
I guess that makes sense. And on a side note, did you also hear that Sony said that it's going to wait for Xbox or Microsoft to release their new console before they release theirs?
And then Microsoft will say, I'm going to wait for Sony to release their console before we release ours. It'll just be a back and forth, and we'll never get them.
And then they'll go sit in the corner with Gabe Newell and not make anything for the next...
Pretty much.
But yeah, so I think that The Last of Us is definitely something that you should pay attention to. Definitely one of the must-buys of the year, in my opinion, if you own a PlayStation at least.
I will agree with that. If you own a Wii U, this is kind of off my list, but this is something Will would probably like. I think it's called Rayman Legends. Because I played Rayman Origins, and that game is amazing. And if Rayman Legends is only being released on the Wii U, I would say that is also a must-buy if you own a Wii U.
Is it going to be like a trilogy, like the Bourne trilogy? Be like the Origins, Legends, and something else after that?
Rayman Ultimatum or something?
Rayman Ultimatum.
Conclusions.
Rayman Conspiracy.
So,
no, I don't. I have no idea. But hey, Rayman Legends looks good. It's not going to entice me to buy a Wii U, but anyone who has it should definitely check it out.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about Bioshock Infinite?
Sure. Yeah, Bioshock Infinite. Buy it. Everything I've seen in that game looks amazing. I played the original Bioshock. I'm playing through them right now, and they're amazing.
I still need to play them.
I have not seen a single thing about this game that has deterred me from getting it. In fact, they even said they're taking out the multiplayer component 'cause this is a single-player game, so the game doesn't need multiplayer. Finally, a developer admits that.
Yeah,
Considering all games need multiplayer.
The outcry that was that people had with the Bioshock 2 multiplayer.
Who played Bioshock 2? Like really? Like no, but Bioshock 2 the multiplayer. Like come on, like how long did that stay?
It didn't seem too bad from the limited amount I did see, but
it's only like it was just your standard first-person shooter multiplayer.
Yeah.
Like we already have games like that. We don't need more. Games like that, like Bioshock, I don't think of multiplayer when I think of Bioshock. I don't think of multiplayer when I think of Uncharted. I only play the single-player stuff. Yeah, Lee, you hear that? I only play the single player.
Even if that's not true, because even if you didn't play it when it released, you played the beta.
Don't get back on this.
Well, the beta was the only Uncharted 3 I could play at the time.
Okay, well, do you have another game or no?
Nothing super important. Next big thing I was going to say is Pikmin 3, because I like Pikmin.
If I had a Wii U, that would probably be up there too.
I'm a Pikmin fan.
How long ago was it that Pikmin 2 came out?
GameCube.
Oh god, GameCube.
Yeah, I know,
it was definitely GameCube. I would say 2003.
I think it was like 2004, actually.
Let's look that up. Oh, you bitch, you're right.
Yeah, I know.
2004.
Yep.
It's been
a while.
I've never played any of them, but it did seem like an interesting idea for a game, so I've just never owned a console that could play it, so.
I approve of Pikmin. I like Pikmin. It's fun.
I think it's definitely like one of the must-buys if you're a Nintendo fan, at least, right?
It's one of the most interesting games that Nintendo's come out with. And someday Captain Olimar will join the likes of Mario and Samus and Link. So
yeah, I was gonna say it's not a Zelda or Mario or Metroid.
Speaking of Zelda,
it's getting there.
Do you guys think a new Wii U Zelda will be announced this year, or even a 3DS Zelda made for the 3DS?
I hope they announce the
E3
Mario
2013.
platformer.
Because just think about it, what games for the Wii U are currently what Nintendo made games for the Wii U apart from Pikmin 3 are currently being made? We know a new Super Mario Galaxy style game is being made because they'd be stupid.
Actually, wait. On that topic, I have a confession to make. I am terrible at Mario platformers.
Doesn't mean you're not going to buy it.
I'm still probably going to get it, but I'm terrible at it.
So am I. Doesn't mean I don't buy it. But, they have to be cooking up something here.
They've got something planned.
And they announced the Wii U at E3 2011. And they showed a Nintendo tech demo. A tech demo of what Link would look like and what the world of Zelda would look like in HD, so Hyrule in HD. So they've had something cooking for the past 2 years.
Oh yeah.
I think we are getting closer to seeing something.
We're getting there. They still have to release all the big name games too.
And what about Metroid?
Metroid would be really nice on the Wii U when it happens.
We need third-party people, we're going to get the same third-party games of PS3, PS4, Xbox 720, 360, whatever. But, Nintendo games sell Nintendo systems. So, show me a Zelda, show me a Mario, show me a Metroid, show me a Donkey Kong.
Give me my Mario Kart.
Yeah, do that, or show me a Mario Party. Come on, if I want to get married and divorce my wife, I want to do that through Mario Party.
Danny, you don't want Mario Party anymore.
The world needs more Zero Suit Samus.
What about Captain Falcon?
More F-Zero.
There you go. What about Earthbound? I haven't played that in a while.
There's rumors of that, actually. There's rumors of Earthbound coming to the Wii U.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Please do.
A new one or a remake?
I'm pretty sure it's just supposed to be a remake. I've only heard the occasional whisper through the grapevine in a foggy forest. But there's whispers.
Or what about a full-on console version of Golden Sun? I would like that too. Because isn't that Nintendo's RPG, big RPG franchise?
The Wii U just needs to start getting its core games coming out now.
It needs the Nintendo games. That's all. Like, what big Nintendo games did we get at launch besides Nintendo Land?
Super Mario Brothers U.
But isn't that just
And
like a rehash of Super Mario Brothers Wii?
Yes, but it's still a Nintendo game.
That's
and
true.
that's it.
So it's still gonna be fun.
All right, the next one. I don't think have you guys gone over everything?
I've gone over all mine.
Yeah, I only had 4. I only had 3, but I added the Bioshock Infinite at the end.
I only had 3.
My last one is Beyond Two Souls.
Beyond.
Another PlayStation exclusive.
Starring Ellen Page.
Yes. Another game that's it's interesting in its performance so far from what we've seen, but we haven't really seen any gameplay. But then again, we didn't really see much gameplay of Heavy Rain either.
Am I even allowed to play this game?
I'm going to grant you the privilege of playing this game under the condition that sometime before you die, you finish Heavy Rain.
Okay. Can't promise much, but all right.
But
I told you, at least I'm past the one part.
And so you got the feels and everything?
Oh yeah. Once that kid died, everything just went to hell.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert for anybody who hasn't played the first hour and a half.
But so yeah, but it's basically Ellen Page or whatever her character's name is. I don't think they've revealed that yet. And
Jodie Holmes.
Oh really? Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, she's like just goes around and does stuff, and I'm assuming it's the same, gonna be the same principle, sort of like just not. I don't even know how you would describe that. It's kind of like a point and click, but not a point and click.
It's a point and not click.
I don't know if that's actually a correct term now, but anyway, it's like just that kind of thing, and have like a quick time sort of button pressing events. But yeah, and basically, and then you're followed by some sort of all powerful, mysterious entity that just kind of murders things. I haven't really discussed what that is.
A ghost. I'd say it's just a ghost.
Just a ghost.
Just a ghost. Definitely just a ghost.
Yeah. So, what do you think of the top 5 games that people should buy?
South Park, Stick of Truth is one of them.
Pokemon X and Y.
Pokemon X and Y. The Last of Us.
Mm-hmm.
Grand Theft Auto 5.
Mm-hmm.
Heart of the Swarm. I think everyone should have some experience in StarCraft.
I think that it's a limited audience, and it's kind of not many people have played it, regardless of quality. Plus, it's only an expansion pack.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't say.
Yeah, good point.
Is important,
But everyone should play StarCraft though.
Okay,
Ladies and gentlemen, our fourth guest, Skrillex.
You gotta warn us before you just go and drop the bass right there. All right, you can't just. I can't take that.
I don't know when it happens. I just sound like me in my ears.
Well, so we have 4.
So what do we have so far? Last of Us, South Park, Grand Theft Auto, and Pokemon X and Y. I was gonna say Ni no Kuni, but that's already been released. So
Yeah, but it's still a.
yeah, but
It's
that's
for this
also one
year.
of those like limited audiences games. Like it's just gonna be like a limited audience. You know what? I would go with Bioshock Infinite.
I think the moral of the story is there aren't really 5 huge games announced at this point.
I would say Bioshock Infinite because this is a game that people have been waiting for a long time. Because I remember watching the very first trailer of this game back in like when I was in first year university, so it must have been like 2010 or something or 2011, and
2010.
Yeah, it was 2010, and that game looked more complete than most games now. So this game has been pushed back a lot. So like, if that game looked that good then, imagine how well it looks now.
I'm going to say that
pretty good.
The only like blockbusters that we've discussed as must-buys would be Grand Theft Auto, Pokemon, and Bioshock. In my opinion, those are the big 3 that they've only announced this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree on that 100%.
So whether or not any of those tickle your fancy, the chances are you're going to be buying one of those games this year.
That's what we're getting. Be happy with it.
So yeah, that's basically it. It comes down to your own taste, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm gonna get Ni no Kuni eventually. Probably gonna get I'm gonna get Bioshock and South Park and The Last of Us. So all 4 games I had on there, I'm gonna get.
Yeah, I'll be getting all the games on my list.
I'm gonna be getting all 4 of mine too.
I think that's why we chose them.
Exactly.
So yeah, I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah,
It's been a long one.
It's been really long. What, hour, 20 minutes?
Roughly around that, yeah.
It's funny because I was editing the other one and I was like, okay, we gotta cut down the time, but we just
next time let's do 2 topics.
I don't know. We get in the groove and we just keep going, right? I don't want to cut it off.
Things start sounding good.
So yeah, basically we talked about Atari. We talked about the Banana Boomerang controller. Come back. Expect to see it. And the games you should buy or the games you should look out for. So hopefully all the ones that we discussed were already on your radar as responsible members of a gaming community. You should have at least known about these games. But if you haven't, that's why we're here.
Now you know.
Because knowledge is power. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Anything you guys want to add?
For our next episode, we may have a surprise for all of you. For every listener that we have from the beginning. Oh, I'm not going to say what it is.
Almost as elusive as the ghost in Will's house. Almost.
Pretty much. Almost.
We have about as much evidence of both of them existing.
It's true.
And I would say the chances of this happening is roughly 60-40 that it's not going to happen, 60 and 40 that
I'm fairly confident that it's going to happen. Just leave it in my hands.
So you're not going to give a percentage grade on that?
No, I'm not.
Okay, so I think that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching or listening. No, I will be watching because this is going to be the first one that I've revamped.
YouTube.
Yeah, because our other podcast hosting site was being dumb. So, well, it wasn't really being dumb. It's that I'm being cheap. So.
Yeah.
That just means it was being dumb.
Yeah, pretty much.
But yeah, I think we've rambled enough on this outro. So anyway, thanks for listening and watching. See you next time.
See you guys.
Skrillex out.